Absolutely extraordinary news coming out of the world of football tonight, as 12 elite football clubs, including 6 from the Premier League, are planning to break away from their respective leagues and take part in what could be known as the European Super League. And this has caused an absolute domino effect in managerial positions for 3 of those Premier League clubs, as Spurs, Chelsea and even league leaders Manchester United are all facing managerial changes, and for Manchester United they've lost another important asset. We will have all the news from an extraordinary day in the world of football. So to our top story from the day. This is developing ever since the West Brom Manchester United game finished, and now we have confirmation that in opposition to the proposed changes to the UEFA Champions League due to take place in 2024 and be announced tomorrow, 12 owners of 12 elite football clubs have threatened to break away from their domestic competitions and form their own, which would be known as the European Super League. These clubs are AC Milan, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, FC Barcelona, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Juventus, Liverpool, both Manchester clubs, Real Madrid and Tottenham Hotspur. The news first broke during the Manchester United West Brom match, and as word quickly spread, the opposition and backlash was almost immediate, particularly during the London derby, in which Gary Neville was particularly opposed to the idea and has been speaking pretty much all day in his opposition of it. And our very own Simon Chaos, who commentated on that game between Manchester United and West Bromwich Albion, spoke of his disdain for the idea as well. And now for 3 of the 6 Premier League clubs involved, they are now facing internal battles and anger from their fans in this situation. And this all started this morning when it was announced that Jose Mourinho was sacked by Spurs, and if rumours are to be believed, Jose refused to take training with the players this morning in opposition to the fact that David Levi was entering this competition, and it left Spurs fans in immediate outrage. We've heard in the last few moments that Ryan Mason will now take over caretaker duties until the end of the season, when a permanent replacement will be searched for and hopefully found. It was then of course announced a few hours later that Frank Lampard had been sacked by Chelsea, and this one had been coming for some time, to be fair, especially after the 7-0 thumping that league leaders Manchester United gave them in the Premier League encounter. And just a couple of weeks ago, of course, they lost by 6-0 against the same side that knocked them out of the Carabao Cup. Despite a resurgent win at the weekend, Frank Lampard's time at Chelsea was up, and it was purely based on results when you consider the fact that Chelsea was sick despite their millions in spending and upgrading the squad this season. Thomas Tuchel is most likely to be replacing him. And then just a few hours later came the most surprising news of all, involving the league leaders, the undefeated teams of the season, Manchester United. We'd heard all day that Gregg Popovich and Aaron Henwood were particularly against Manchester United's involvement in the European Super League, and Gregg Popovich wasn't even consulted about the idea from the Manchester United board and owners, and thus Gregg Popovich resigned immediately, and Aaron Henwood also followed his head coach out of the door by announcing his retirement from football. It's fair to say this European Super League has not gone down well with almost anybody, and even 3 of the teams that are to be involved facing opposition from within. Just 24 hours after Gregg Popovich announced his resignation as their head coach and Aaron Henwood retired as one of their players, Manchester United now announced today that Executive Vice Chairman Ed Woodward will leave his position at the end of the season. And it's fair to say of all the teams participating in this European Super League breakaway, Manchester United have been hit the hardest, with 3 of their prized assets leaving in a matter of days. But with the Super League now crumbling around them, with Chelsea and Manchester City the latest teams to withdraw, and Manchester United to follow suit with Liverpool and the likes tomorrow, could this announcement by Ed Woodward be an idea to get Gregg Popovich and Aaron Henwood to overturn their original decisions and stay on to at least the end of this season? So after a truly chaotic 48 hours in the world of football, and after all the false bravado, The European Super League has effectively been scrapped and collapsed thanks to the 6 Premier League teams all withdrawing over the last couple of days. But the message from the fans to those clubs' owners was clear: there will be protests. In an open letter to the Manchester United fans, Joel Glazer spoke of hoping for a meeting between himself, Gregg Popovich and Aaron Henwood. We can confirm that meeting has happened, and Gregg Popovich has been reinstated as Manchester United head coach for the rest of the season. Aaron Henwood has also overturned his decision to retire and will be immediately accepted back into the matchday squad for the rest of the season also. It's fair to say that the European Super League has been a messy saga for football in the last 48 hours, and even though it may effectively collapsed, I don't think the discussions and the repercussions are over.